So good evening everybody and welcome back to F1 here on FTRL. It is the penultimate round of season 18 of Div 1 and we are here at the famous Interlagos circuit in Brazil. A very popular choice with the drivers and fans alike, and we are on board with Dylan McGibbon, who is taking us on a lap of this beautiful, flowing, tight, twisty, high-speed circuit. It's got a bit of everything, this one, including those beautiful yellow, green and white centre tribute curbs. Heading up now into the infield part of the lap. It's a long right-handed double apex hanging to the inside. Over to the left-hand side, down the gearbox all the way to second gear for the slow right-hander. Quickly over to the left, hook that curb again. Get on the power quickly, onto the curb on the right-hand side, then over to the left again. Zigzag across the circuit, down again all the way to the second gear for the right-hander, then start to build the speed through the fast left-hander, down the hill, then start to climb again at the bottom of the hill. Now it's all about speed. Foot to the floor, we are now racing towards the line, up the hill we go. Heading in towards the DRS zone. Is open, hug the white line on the left hand side, up against the pit wall. And the first lap on board is a 1:7.9 from Dylan, which is quickly beaten by Tam just behind him. But he was on the soft side, Dylan doing his lap on the mediums. Shizou Tom drops into second, then a 1:7.7, so handy lap from him. So very again on the medium tire, so a number of drivers trying the alternate strategy. Corboy and Tom Duval both also setting their laps on the mediums. GMAC goes 4th on the soft tyre, Johan goes 7th on the mediums as well, so a couple of guys going for the softs early on. A couple of guys are going to try and get through on those medium tyres, which will of course give them better options strategy wise come race time, as Yogi goes second, a 1:7.4 from the Mercedes man. Good opening run from him, puts him on the provisional front row for the time being. However, still a long way in this session to go. Got on board then with Ox. Expect him to be at the sharp end of this one. On his first run through the middle part of the lap. He gets him on. Mercedes has gone around further back. Might have been waiting for to get out of the way. Scudery coming down the hill. Wesker goes third fastest on 1:7.5. Across the line, and Johan does lowest this time to a 1:8.7. Across the line again. Here comes the Ferrari. And Tika goes fastest of all, a 1:6.6 from him. What about Ox? What can he do? 1:6.9. So they take over at the front of the grid. Familiar sight. What then about the Red Bull? So we have the opportunity to crown the Drivers' Champion this evening for the first time. Just 2 races to go. And it is Tico versus Dutch Tricks. A very familiar sight at the top of the standings. Good evening, unsafe release. Hope you're well, my friend. Hope the COVID isn't kicking your butt too much. Up the hill, then comes the Red Bull man. He knows only he has to beat Tico tonight. He has to claw back a big chunk of points. He had a really got an opportunity last week to pull some points back. Dutch Tricks goes second, a 1:6.7 for the Red Bull man, and Crims goes fastest of all. So the Ferraris go 1 and 2. Crims on a 1:6.4, so winner last time out at Abu Dhabi, and proving to be a man to beat once again here after the first runs. But Andwar, he's on a lap. We'll pick up him. Looking at the standings at the moment, and the current state of play is that Tico leads by 27 points. Andwar and validates his lap at the end there, so he doesn't set lap time this time. So yeah, Tico leading by 27 points. He needs to be leading by at least 32 by the end of the night to wrap up the championship with a round to spare. Well, Dutch Tricks needs to take a big chunk of points back to try and keep it alive for another week, give him any sort of hope going into the final week at Bahrain. But we shall see. Who we got on lap at the minute then? Tibos, I believe, maybe just done a run. Just a second run on his tyres, so I think he's probably on his way into the pits. A couple of guys on outlaps. So the battle at the top, not that tight, but not over yet. The battle for P3, however, is very much alive at the moment then. Tom Duval leading the way at the moment, 140 points. Has a 10-point lead over the now absent Lynx, who's not here this week, unfortunately. He may even miss the last week, so he probably going to miss out on the opportunity to claim a top 3 in his bid to defend his title. He is 5 points ahead of Graham, who's on 125. And then we've got Oxox on 108, Sway on 107, Dan on 106, Dylan on 103, and TT Tibos on 100 points, with Shizou Tom on 99. So a nice battle there going on for potential third place. A lot to play for pride-wise. Of course, the big prize very much between the two Dutch boys. And of course, last week in Abu Dhabi, they both came a cropper in the race. First up to fall foul of the race was Tico, who ran into the back of Crims under a safety car, damaged his wing and had to pit as that safety car ended. That dropped him right to the back of the pack and a long way off, and that gave Dutch Tricks a huge opportunity to claw back a large amount of points, which he duly span away at turn 1. Clipped the curve, the AstroTurf on the outside, and around he went, dropping him out of 4th place at the time, all the way down to 12th. He salvaged P4 at the end, but Tico finished P5 just behind him, so only a couple of points pulled back. A big missed opportunity, but I think based on how he's got on, Crims was definitely the man to beat last week. Looking very, very strong. And he currently sits on top of the standings here at the minute as well. Tico on another outlap. Shizou Tom, meanwhile, has got up to P4. And we've got Dylan on another lap. Let's pick up the Alfa Romeo man as he comes to the line. Currently P11, goes P6 and a 107.0. So slots in just ahead of Tam and just behind Oxox. So he can always have a really good run of form recently, Dylan. Maybe not the best run last week, but he's definitely kicked on this season. Great to see him improving. He'll be hoping that China is on next season's calendar. Of course, the race where he got his first FTRL podium. Adamaka then goes up into the top 10, which knocked the only guy left in the top 10 on the medium tyres, which was TT Tibos, out of the top 10, so he'll have to go again because he's back after his jollies. I think he's been in the States for a couple of weeks. So good to have him back on track. He was a man on form before he went away. Let's see who we got on laps at the minute. Tico is up in sector 1. He's got Dutch Tricks coming down the first straight. He goes into sector 2. His next checkpoint is at the bottom of the next hill. So let's see how he's getting on. He's 0.4 of a second then to overhaul Crims. And he has found just under a 10th, so it'll be an improvement, but not enough to take pole position away. Over 8 minutes of the session to go. Here he comes to the line. It should be an improvement. Is it enough? Does he find any time in the final sector? He finds a little bit. Lowers his time to a 1:69. What about Dutch Tricks? He's going faster. And he could be on to overhaul Tico here, which he needs to do, really. Now, the bonus point for pole position wouldn't be much, but every little will help. And he goes down to a 1:06.6 then, so Tico's marginal improvement enough to keep him ahead of Dutch Tricks for the moment. What about Oxox? Of course, a few eagle eyes may spot the man in P8. It is the GOAT, the legend that is Scuba. He is back for one race only. Wheeled him out of the retirement home because he loves Brazil that much. He's into the pits. Let's pick up the Aston Martin. He's going to go to the line. Has he found any time in the final sector? The answer is no, he has not. So that is not an improvement for him. Stays on his 1:06.9. Oh, Wesker has retired from the session. Is that an accident? It looks like it might be. Going from the outside of the corner there. So the Red Bull man, P12, and that's as good as he's going to get for him. Meanwhile, TG Tibos goes up to P4, 1:06.8 for the Aston Martin man. Jumps ahead of Shizou Tom. Excellent job from him there. Puts himself onto the provisional second row then. So running order as it stands with 6.5 minutes to go is a Ferrari 1-2. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. Crims on provisional pole from Tico by just under 0.2 of a second. Dutch Tricks in P3 with TTG Tibos alongside him, currently P4. On the third row we find Shizou Tom and Oxox. Then we've got Dylan P7, Tam in P8. Of course, we saw him earlier in the season. He's one of Joham's friends. Scuba P9 and Tom Duval rounding out the top 10. And Callboy in P11, good qualifying from him. He had a really good run last week as well. Good to see Joe battling at the sharp end. Wesker P12, Sway is 13th, Graham is 14th, Johan 15th, Yogi is 16th. Then we've got GMAC in 17th, Adamako down in P18, Dan P19 at the moment, and Andwar yet to set a representative lap time. Have we got anybody on a run, Crims? I think he's validated his run, so he won't be improving. Yogi seems to be on laps, pick up the Mercedes man. So he's getting on, he's got one of the Hazes just in front of him. It'll be Johan who's just at the pits. So he squeezes past. And goes faster in Sector 1 by 0.062. So marginal improvement there. There's not much time to be found in Sector 1, but a lot of time to be lost if you don't hook up the first couple of corners. Hogging that right hand curb, double apex and over to the left, down to second gear. Flip flop over to the left hander, hug that curb again. Get the car straightened up, bit of a twitch there as he gets on the power. And into this banked right hander. Sweep over to the right hand side for the left hander, coming up to Sector 2 checkpoint. And he has lost time in the middle sector then, so really difficult to find time here. The grid really compact again. Look, we've got 1 second between your top 17. Just over a second between the top 17. 1.1 seconds to cover the top 18, so that's how close it is. Yogi coming to the line. Doesn't find any time in the final sector, so stays 16th for the moment. Jack, good evening, Dazza Snipes. He's up the Tom Bravo. Oh, the man currently sitting P5. Expect him to feature in the race for sure, though. He's been a very quick boy this season, so fingers crossed for have another good run from him. Tam is down in Sector 1 then, the McLaren man. Subbing in for the absent CR7. He was still waiting on a new wheel. And Dan Morris leaps up into P11 then. So, having been down the bottom end of the tyre sheets, Dan Morris leaps into P11 or 172. Closes the field up even more. About Tam then. Out of the bottom corner he comes. Full grid. Be a lively race, and here he comes to the line. Does he improve? He does not. No, lost some time in that one. Pits. Tom Duval comes to the line, currently P10. Start another flying run then. Sitting third in the championship again, been super consistent. Had some really good results recently as well. Strong runs at a couple of tracks. He did call them as well. He said he'd go well. France and Abu Dhabi, and he delivered on those promises, and that has vaulted him into third in the championship. And to look over his shoulder though, a resurgent Lynx who has been in good form recently. Unfortunately, Lynx missing this week. That may put pay to his hopes of securing P3 at least. Just under 3 minutes of the session to go. The final runs will be starting any time now. The track will be at its best, its grippiest. Of course, the thing with Brazil is the weather can always play a factor around here. South American circuit, but doesn't often have the South American weather. So rain can definitely play a part here. Up the hill then he comes. Andwar goes P8 to 107.0, so that has now put the whole field within 1.1 seconds. What does Tom Duval do? He improves marginally, but stays in P11. And then is quickly dropped to P12 by, who was that that's just gone up the order? Adam Acko got to P11 then, so having been dead last a second ago, Adam improves to 171, puts in P11. And the whole field is now within a second of each other. That is just how tight it is around this circuit. Graham then on a lap to pick up the Alfa Romeo man, the one who's going strong in the championship. Again, mainly due to consistency. He's a super consistent driver and finding 0.126 in Sector 1 then, so Graham on for a good improvement here. How's he going to get on the rest of the lap then? Coming into the middle sector. Double apex. Right-hander, nice line through there. Over to the curb, then down the gearbox to second gear. Quick short shift up to fourth. Down second again for the left-hander, again back quickly up to fourth. Tries to get the traction, the power down through those rear tyres. McLaren there should stay well out of his way as he sweeps them through the long left-hander. Going to the sector 2 checkpoint, he is 0.223 up, so finding more time in the middle sector. This could put him right into around about where Tom Dan are at the moment. Is there any time in the final sector for him? Dutch Tricks goes second fastest. The Red Bull man splits the Ferraris. What does Graham do? He improves to P14. Lost a little bit of time in the final sector. Didn't quite get that bottom corner hooked up. But improves to P14. But Dutch Tricks critically splits the Ferraris. He's now ahead of his rival. What does Tico do? That was an outlap, so let's have a look at him improvement. Let's go on board with the current provisional pole sitter. Still over a tenth, nearly a tenth and a half up on his nearest rival. It doesn't seem like a lot in the random scheme of things, but in F1 that's a massive thing. Ox goes second fastest. So he's been ill as well. Good to see him on track. Hopefully he's feeling better. He splits the Crimson Dutch. Right, nicely, they're just inches ahead of his Ferrari over. What about Tico? Then these will be the final runs. Time has now expired. Yogi stays 15th. Andor stays 8th. Tam stays 6th. So Tom does not improve on his run, so he's abandoned his lap. That Crims, he is up in sector 1, so he's improving. Got on the pole. What's Tico doing? He's up as well. And it might be enough to get ahead of Dutch. He's always a little bit wide there on the curb. That want to compromise his speed up the hill. And that's going to hurt him all the way to the line then. What can he do? What can he do? Here he comes, hogging that inside line. Does he improve? He does, but it's not enough. He stays 4th then, so Dutch is ahead of his rival. The critical TG Tibber crosses the line. He improves, but Scuba goes 5th. 106.8 from him, then just snaps ahead of TG Tibos right at the death. Dylan has invalidated his lap, and he's the last one on track then. So that is the grid decided. Into the pits he comes, and that is session over. The whole grid then within pretty much within just over a second of each other. That is how close it is, which sets us up for a very interesting race. Lots of trains around here. It's going to be interesting to see what those guys outside of the top 10 then do strategy-wise. But it's Crims then who takes a pole position. Great job from him there. 0.125 up on Oxox in the end. Dutch Tricks then lining up 3rd alongside his title rival then. Those two together. This one Tico can win the title tonight if he finishes 5 points or more than 5 points ahead of Dutch Tricks. Scuba starting P5, great qualifying from him on his return with TTG Tibos in P6. Shazoo Tom will start P7 with Tam in P8, Anwar 9th and Dylan rounding out the top 10. A free tyre choice then goes to the remainder of the grid, starting with Sway in P11 and Adam P12. Then we've got Tom Deval 13th and GMAC in 14th. Dan starts P15th alongside Yogi. Graham starting P18 alongside Callboy. And Wesker and Yarham then on the 10th row. So that's the easy bit done. Now is the hard bit. The race itself ahead of us. Who do we fancy for this one then? Crims, who was in great form since he's started in FTRL, 2nd on his debut week, and then winning last time out, so expecting big things from the Ferrari. Oh, he's deputising in Ferrari this week for Zumpy, and he has done an excellent job of it by putting himself on pole, point against his name. Is he going to make it 2 wins in a row? I'm sure the man sat directly behind him on track would quite like to get ahead of him at the start and take that win, because there is a fairly sizable gap in the points between 1st and 2nd that should help him reel in some points on Tico. That's going to be the interesting battle to watch then. Dutch needs to finish ahead of Tico really, and he needs to do so. He needs to hope Tico comes a cropper somewhere in this one, finishes low down, but we saw what a great recovery drive he had last week. And the grid is formed. The sighting lap will begin, and away we go. Let's get the details up, see who's running on what, see what the race is going to bring us then. On pole position for the 2nd time in a row, Crims, outstanding job from them. On pole position alongside Oxox, superstar himself. He's going to be super quick, super exciting to watch in this one as ever in that Aston Martin Dutch Tricks then. The title up for grabs. News that he needs to do. He needs to finish ahead of that man directly behind him. And he's qualified ahead of him, so he gets the opportunity to lead him into turn 1 at least. Can he hold him off in the race though? Tico, title agonisingly close for him. It could be wrapped up tonight if he could beat Dutch Tricks by 5 points or more. See if the Ferrari man can wrap it up. Scuba, he is back, and he is back in the top 5. Great effort from the Mercedes man. Put himself right in contention for a strong result there, and he is alongside TTG Tibos in that second Aston Martin. Both of them in the top 6. Great job from them. Shazoo Tom lining up P7. Solid qualifying from him once again. Expect him to be a factor in this one. Tam then on his second start. Great job from him in P8. Anwar P9 came out of nowhere, as Andy tends to do. He's in contention of P9, and Dylan, strong qualifying from him inside the top 10 once again. The free tyre choice then for everybody else, starting with Sway in P11. He's on the medium tyres. Adamako starts P12. He too is on the medium tyres. Tom Duval, as seemingly always, goes aggressive early on, starting on the soft tyre. GMAC is P14. He's also on the soft tyre. Dan Morris starting P15 on the medium tyres. Yogi is 16th on the soft. And we've got Graham starting on the medium tyre on P17, as is Callboy in P18, Wesker in P19 as well, and Yarham at the very back, starting on the hard tyre. So the only driver on the hard tyre. That then is your grid. That is the tyre situation. Race is about to commence. There's a championship at stake. There's P3 in the standings at stake. There's some pride as well. Lights are on, the revs are up, and away we go. And it's a good start from Crims. Ox has gone with him though. Good start from Tico, trying to get alongside Dutch Tricks. Crims will lead into turn 1. Tico and Dutch go wheel to wheel round 1. A little bit of bumping and banging. Everybody seems to have got around the first couple of corners okay though. It's 3 wide in the pack as they further back. The McLaren and the AlphaTauri coming together. Oh, spinning across the track and into the wall hard goes GMAC. And into the wall, the Williams man's carried on though. He's survived the collision with the wall. But big contact there, front wing gone, and that's his race compromised already. Such a shame for him. Away we go then, big movers early on. 2 for Dylan, 2 Adam Acko, Tom Duval up 2 as well, so is Yogi. Then up 1 for Shazoo Tom. Graham, Corway, Wesker and Yarham. The big loser was that GMAC, who's down 6, Way's down 2, and was down 3. We come around then to the end of lap 1. Crims is going to lead us across the line. Up the hill for the first time they go. Looking at the inside line again, trying to break the slipstream from Ox, who's trying to go with him. Dutch Tricks in tow. Then we've got Tico Scuba close in attendance. Shazoo Tom has got TG Tibos looking up the inside of the tow, but not quite close enough. Tom Duval. Oh, who's that going off in the background? That was Anwar in the wall, and Anwar is out. And the VSC deployed at the end of lap 1. Oh, big shame for Andy. I think he got the grass under braking. He's hit the wall hard and has not been able to stop. And he has ploughed into the wall and out of the race. It's a big shame that nullifies the race then for the moment. GMAC pitting for a fresh wing. Get some fresh tyres on as well. It's gone onto the hard tyre then. VSC then deployed. Hopefully everybody's watching their delta. Nobody wants to drive through at this stage of the race. Dave's saying Tico needs to win by 4 points. Yeah, there we go. Stand corrected. Are you sure? I thought it was 32, isn't it? If he's 27 ahead, he needs 5 points surely. I'll let you at that then. So, are we going again? Not quite. VSC. Crims has got the hammer down. Pull the gap. Brings it back again to probably just open the delta up. And away we go. Racing again. Yogi in the pits. So he's got some damage somewhere as well, unfortunately. We are racing again. And the DRS has been enabled then. And Crims just inside that 1 second barrier. Loser was Scuba, who's dropped out of slipstream of Tico. Has now got Shazoo Tom all over the back of him. Not close enough this time. Onto the medium tyre goes the Mercedes further back, the other Mercedes. And away we go then, but Crims meanwhile has got that gap over a second in the middle part of the lap. So looks like he's going to be keen to try and get back within that second bracket. Good one down the hill. To claw that gap in, it's yo-yoing between 1.06 and 1.1. Now, has he had a good enough run up the hill? The answer is no, he has not. Crims has pulled the gap, and that means there will be no DRS for Oxox. Dutch behind him, however, will do. Will he be close enough to move it into 1? The answer is no, he is not. Oxox taking the fastest lap of the race, so despite Crims getting that gap up, Oxox still goes quicker. So we're going past Adamako further back. Still not within that second bracket. Dutch Tricks is closing. Scuba pushing hard to try and get back within that second. He's got Shazoo Tom all over the back of him, down the run towards turn 4. Down the inside comes Shazoo Tom, and into P5 he goes. Good move there with the DRS. Scuba looking to fight back instantly then. And can these two slingshot each other on back onto the tail of those top 4? They're keeping that gap just over a second, although Oxox has closed in again through that corner, but Yo-Yo's back out again as they accelerate and brake. The gap is now 1.1 seconds against Oxox. Again will not have DRS, and will leave him vulnerable to Dutch and Tico behind him. Shazoo Tom now trying to lead the charge to try and bring this pack back up. He's got Scuba, TGD, Tibos, Dylan, Tam, Tom Deval all in tow. Then a bit of a gap back to Sway. Crims with the fastest lap, 1.92. Dutch not close enough into 1. He's closed up on the back once again. But Oxox had a really good run out of turn 2 and 3. I think he's going to be safe once again. Not close enough for a move. Scuba and TG Tibos closing in, but TG Tibos just sitting behind him for now. Long way to go on this one, that 5 of 36. So all the soft tyre runners are now in the top 10. Everybody behind them on either mediums or hard, and the gap between the two AlphaTauris is the biggest one at the minute. Tom in P10 on the back of this train. Sway then leading the next one. Of all the medium tyre runners, he's 3 seconds behind at the minute, and he's leading the train of Adamako, Dan Morris, Corboy, Graham, Wesker, Yarham. And then we've got Yogi and GMAC, who of course had their troubles early on. They had to pit. And they're a little bit off the pack, so they'll be hoping for a safety car a little bit later in this race to try and bring them back into contention. Dutch Tricks a lot closer to Oxox this time. Up the hill to the inside he goes. Oxox is going to let him go. Don't need to fire at this stage of the race. Into P2 goes Dutch Tricks. Critical for him, he needs cars between himself and that Ferrari in P4. Slingshot has just pulled these 3 away from... Oh, Shazoo Tom I think's gone around. He has. He's on the outside of the first corner. No, that's a shame. He's dropped out of P5, so Scuba re-inherits P5. Alpine man. That's such a shame for him. He now needs a safety car as well. Gap for the lead, 1.4 seconds now, so Crims just edging that gap up. Still out of DRS range. Can Dutch Tricks do anything about the Ferrari ahead of him? The Dazzler in the chat. Yep, not what he wanted at all. So Tom will be hoping for a safety car at some point to bring him back into contention. He's had one accident tonight. That brought out a VSC. And while crashing on the outside of turn 1. Across the line we come then for the 6th time. Crims lead down to 1.4. Oxox, oh, up the inside, late move for into turn 1, backs out of it, lets Dutch go. Don't think he intended to make that move, but then arrived right at the braking zone, went up the inside, compromises Dutch, run down the hill. He's got the DRS again to the outside this time, and with the DRS that should be a fairly easy overtake, and through he goes. Further back, TG Tibos going past Scuba as well, into the head of the second train, which is now 2.7 seconds off the top 4. Although battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Can the Aston Martin chase them down then? Scuba letting him through. Dylan now up to P7. Tam in the P8, good job from him. And Tom Deval on the back of this train in P9. Shazoo Tom has made it back to the pits. Soft tyres going on then, so we're going aggressive. Going to try and pull some back in. Hope for a safety car. Yeah, told you, Tommy boy. 32 points. I know my math. Back then with the lead, battle for second at the moment. The lead now 1.7 seconds for Crims. Oxox holding off Dutch and Tico right on the back of them into turn one. These three nose to tail. And further back, no change in the order here. These five happy to sit in this order at the moment. We've got Sway. Oh wait, no we're not. Further forward, Dutch Tricks going back past Oxox into turn four. There he goes, back into P2. Yeah, he sets off trying to chase down Crims again. These guys working together, they're not holding each other too much. Crims is just edging away up front. At the minute, doing a really good job once again, as they did last week. Twitch there from Oxox as he tries to get the power down. Catches it nicely though. We've got TTG Tibos training with Scuba, Dylan, Tam and Tom all together. They're now nearly 5 seconds clear of the trains led by Sway, which has got Adam, Dan, Joe in it. Wesker's fallen away a little bit in 14th. Still got Graham and Yahan for company. And then the three drivers who had issues, Yogi, GMAC and Shazoo Tom. Oh, 3 wide into turn one. Oh, Tico has to back at him as Oxox goes down the inside of Dutch. Dutch comes back at him, Tico down the inside of Oxox. They're side by side round 3. They're both going to have DRS. Are we going to go 3 wide? Oh my god, this is brave. This is brave. 3 wide into turn 4. Who's going to yield? Is anybody going to yield? Oh no. Oh, Oxox has to back out of it. Tico takes the Hamilton line around the outside. And they all come out as they went in. But wow, that was scary stuff. Great driving. I say good respect shown. Sort of good respect shown. Everybody survived. That's the main thing. Wow, what racing there. 3 wide into turn 4. Nobody wanted to yield. Dutch knows he has to try and take points off Tico. Tico knows he can win the championship. Oxox is just going for glory. But look how much time that cost them. They were 1.7 seconds behind. It's now 2.5. So 3 wide into turn 4 has cost them nearly a second to the race leader. Let's just spread these three out a little bit then. The DRS once again. Dutch has probably got enough of a lead over Oxox this time into 1. Tico closing as well. Around the back of Ox into 1. Is he going to go for a move? He gets up the inside into 1. Oxox doesn't have the inside for 2. They're still side by side once again. Tico's on the curve. That just compromises exit speed. That gives Oxox a run around the outside. They've both got DRS once again. And that should be enough for Oxox to hang on into 4. Tico thinks about a move down the inside. Not quite close enough. What's going on further back? These 5 still as they were, although Tam has now headed Dylan. So Tam up to P7. Scuba's also back into P5. Good battling from those guys though. But these guys trying to work together, trying to close that gap down. Tico, despite that battle going on, going 3 wide into turn 4, the gap's still 2.6 seconds then, so not quite able to just claw that gap back. Further back, Sway still leading this train, Adam still 11th, Dan still 12th, Callboy still 13th. These 4 in a train, they know their time will come later in the race than when they're on the soft tyres. Try to come back at those guys ahead of them. And we've got Wesker, Graham and Yarham still circulating together, 14th, 15th and 16th. Yogi having a lonely race as he hopes for a safety car to bring him back into contention. 17th GMAC down in 18th. How he survived that crash on lap 1 I do not know. That was a big hit in the wall. He got spat off on the inside. Whether or not it was contact or he clipped the grass, I'm not sure. Williams made a strong stuff. And Shazoo Tom P19. Down towards turn 4 we go again. Dutch defending the inside. Oxox in the slipstream with the DRS to the inside. Dangles a nose in, but not quite able to get alongside. Oh, he's alongside still. Dutch has had to give him a little bit of room. But stays ahead. It's close there. Ox kind of half went for it, but half didn't. And the first penalty of the evening, so lap 11, and the first track limit penalty on the board for GMAC. So very clean driving so far from everybody. These 5 seem a little bit more content to kind of stay in order, try and chase them down. That gap though is holding firm. The top, these the 2nd, 3rd and 4th place battle despite their position swappings, are kind of staying. Oh, he's gone. Is it Wesker? And Wesker's had a spin there at the middle part of the in the middle of the lap. The Red Bull man's got around as Oxox takes P2 into turn 1. Through he goes, further back. Anybody go for a move in this 5? No. It's happy Tom DeBal and Dylan happy to sit on the back. Adam Acker goes past Sway though for P10. Nice move from the McLaren man. Into one, he now takes over the chase. The gap to Tom DeBal is 5 seconds. As I mentioned, it will come back to them later in the race. They're getting the medium tyre stint out of the way early. Wesker into the pits. And he retires, unfortunately, so Wesker having a bit of a torrid time as he heads towards a pending retirement from 2021 game. Despite a solid run tonight, good qualifying from him, but fortunately not to be tonight. So TK now just sitting back at the minute. Happy to just watch this battle between Dutch and Oxox unfold in front of him. Dutch closing on Ox down the start-finish straight. Ox down the middle of the road, goes to the inside to cover. Dutch is going to have to go the long way. Oxox will stay ahead for now. Further back, TG Tibos has gone past Scuba. Back into the top 5, but those guys are still losing time to the guys ahead. Oxox defending the inside. Dutch then to the outside. And around he goes, back into P2. Tim and Ox continuing to change places. Tico just seeing off the back now. And those two squabble. They're still pulling away from that pack behind, so despite Scuba and TG Tibos working together reasonably well, they're not making any progress. So those 3 ahead of them just seem to have more pace. The leader, Crims, 3.2 seconds, 3.3 seconds now the lead. Here comes the ghost car of Shazoo Tom. He is just doing exactly what they need to do, just inching away, building that gap 10th by 10th. Behind, the battle goes on. Graham and Yarham have just changed places further back. They've now, of course, lost Wesker from this battle as Dutch Tricks pits. So, first pit stop, in comes the Red Bull man. He's going for the undercut. Onto the medium tyre he goes. He's got to lap 14. Is anybody else going to follow his lead on that medium tyre? No, everybody stays out. Dutch Tricks, then where is he going to come out? Critically, is he going to have a clear track? He's going to have Graham and Yarham coming around the outside of him. Ideally, he'll want to be ahead of those two, but he's not going to be. He's going to be behind them. So then there go Yarham and Graham. Dutch will drop in behind them. That's going to hold him up then. So do Tico and Oxox respond this time around? He's come out in a bit of traffic. If they're looking on the map, they'll see that. So maybe another lap or so might be an idea. Now Oxox is just putting a bit of gap into Tico as Dutch Tricks goes past Yarham. Oh, they got to instantly respond. What about the race leader? Is he going to respond? No, he's not. So Tico does have a free run at the pits if he wants it. And he does. In he comes. Oxox has carried on. Also in comes TG Tibos and Scuba. Dylan and Tom go through, as does Tam. So Tam up to P3. Let's pick up Tico and let's see where he comes out relative to Dutch Tricks. Dutch is at turn 1 the outside, I think. I've got this camera angle, it's terrible. AIDS camera angle. There's Dutch. Tico's coming out the pits. He's going to be behind those two. He is, then so Dutch has cleared those two cars, and Tico comes out just behind them. In the background, TG Tibos and Scuba on their way. So what is Oxox's times like? Let's look at his sector split times, see how he's getting on compared to his fastest lap. 0.7 of a second off his ultimate pace. You would imagine though that would happen with the tyre drop off, as Tico's gone past Yarham already. Crims is in, race leader in, Oxox is coming in as well, so yep, top 2 are in. Oh, this pack behind going to follow the lead. Tam, Dylan and Tom. Tam's in, Dylan's in, Tom's in. No, Tom goes through. So Tom DeVal goes through, takes the lead of the race. Crimson onto the medium tyre, Oxox onto the medium tyre. Where are they going to come out relative to this battle then? Where is Dutch Tricks? He's coming up the start-finish straight now. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:91. He's got the hammer down. Where is Oxox relative to him? There's Crims coming out the pits. Where is Oxox? I think Dutch's undercut is going to work quite nicely for him here. There's Oxox coming out the pits now. He is behind Tico. So the undercut has worked out nicely for Tico as well. He's got ahead of Ox. Well, Oxox is right on the back of him to the gap to Tico, and Dutch is 1.7 seconds then. Dutch, meanwhile, has got to within 1.2 of the race leader. So the undercut has worked out very nicely for him, but he needs to get the pressure on now. Well, Crims is getting his tyres up to temperature. Can he get within DRS range? Can he attack? While Tico is out of slip and likely to be fending off Oxox's advantage. Tom DeValt still the race leader. Is he going to pit this time? Everybody else who started on the medium soft tyre is in. Here comes indeed. And that would promote Adamako into the lead of the race. So the medium tyre runners then come to the fore. Dutch hasn't quite managed to get there because Crims has got DRS from Corboy. And down at 2-1, Tico now with the fastest lap of the race, and he's now got the hammer down. So Crims then getting a car in between himself and Dutch Tricks there, the DRS helping him pull away there because Dutch was nearly in DRS range, which could have prevented Crims with an issue. However, he may have alleviated that by getting a move done on Corboy. He's going well up in P5, still to make his first pit stop of course. Crims now closing on Dan Morris. Around the right hand, there we go. Now the traffic is going to be hurting him a little bit, so I haven't got the move done. He's got a car in between himself and Dutch Tricks, but now he's got more to clear. He's got the other two cars in front of him after Dan. Sway and Adamako are there as well. These are the race leaders. Dutch now on the back of Corboy. Corboy still within range of Crims as well. Crims, though, you feel will be a matter of time before they clear Dan. There we go. Here comes the DRS zone to the inside, is it? Oh, no. Oh, Crims trying to get the inside of Dan as Dan tries to get the inside of Sway. That was nearly messy. Down the inside into one. Through he goes. So he gets a double move done. Just as Dutch has gone past Corboy. The Dutch clears the first of those cars. Crims there, that almost went wrong for him. Horribly wrong from there. Trying to get the inside of Dan, who was going up the inside of Sway. I don't know if Sway had a poor run up the hill. And Oxox going past Tico. Further back into P7. Those two resuming battle. But that's going to be costing them time because the two they're chasing are now in that pack ahead of them. And they've got cars in between them. Oxox has got 1.6 seconds to make up on Corboy. He's got fresh tyres though. Further back the Alfa Romeo is changing places. Dylan on fresh tyres going past his teammate. I imagine that would have been a wave bite. As this battle has resumed then. Scuba, TG Tibos, Tam and Dylan all together again. Tom DeVal, that late pit stop has just cost him a little bit at this stage. He's got a little bit of a gap to catch to Graham, but he's not far off the back of those guys, so he should still be in the hunt. Up the hill we go. And Crims is closing on the race leader. He's got much fresher tyres. He's got the DRS. Which side does he go? It's inside. And he reclaims the lead of the race as Dutch has gone past Sway. And Oxox passes Corboy. Does Tico following through? No, he does not. So Tico then not able to get a move done on Corboy. TG Tibble's going past Yarm. Ooh, coming together around the outside of 3. DRS for both cars, is it? They are indeed. Both on DRS down the back straight. Who's going to be best on the brakes? Yarm holding the inside. TG Tibble's got fresher tyres though. Around the outside he goes. Now Tam trying to get the inside. Dylan trying to buy into this as well. Now trying to go on the outside of the Haas. Oh, there's contact. And around goes the Haas. And Dylan's off the track. Oh, that's such a big shame for him. Gathers it up all over the shop. He's got dirty tyres. Grey up the inside of his teammate. Just about. That was great driving from Dylan to hang on to that one. Then that could have been a nasty crash for him. Now Graham and Tom are side by side. Tom trying to go around the outside. He gets the move done. Good move from Tom DeVal. Meanwhile, Tico is past Sway and Corboy. Oxox goes past Dan Morris. Dutch now on closing in on Adamako. Meanwhile, Crims has got clear and is pulling away once again. He's now got Tico all over the back of him. Oh, Yarm spared the pit lane then to compound his misery. But there, no, Tico not able to find a way past Dan down the straight. Dan had the DRS from Oxox. Tico didn't have a good enough run. Oh, Tico's up the inside. Oh, that was late. Dan's fighting back on the inside. Tico there's going to have more grip around the outside, and through he goes. Oh, and a yellow flag. Who is that? Johan. At the moment in the pit lane, on his way out the pits. And Tico then bravely down the inside there, battling it out with Dan as Dutch Tricks goes past Adamako around the outside. Adam's fighting back though. DRS, that should be moved on for Dutch Tricks. It is. Look at the gap now between Ox and Tico. It's 1.6 seconds. Into the pits comes Dan Morris, comes Sway, and comes Joe Corboy. So they're now in. We're going to be going on to the soft tyre. Garham now gets a corner got penalty as well. Ox down the inside of Adam into turn 4. Nice, easy, clean move. And through he goes. But Adam going really well. I imagine the medium tyre runners are starting to pit, so he'll probably be in as quick as he can do. Get himself onto the soft tyres. See what progress he can make at the end of this one. 20 laps on those tyres at the minute. He's driven really well, led the race. Led the charge of the medium tyre runners. But they're now starting to peel off. I think everybody else is now pitted, so he'll be the last one to pit. Despite getting to almost within a second after the pit stop, the gap between first and second is now 2.9 seconds. So Krems has eased away once again. Oh, Yarm's gone. No, he's gone in the pits, unfortunately. So it's a shame for him there. That spin just costing him. Adam pits. He's the last one into the pits. Gets stopped for the line. Does indeed. That promotes Tico then back up to P4. But he's got a 1.2 second gap to try and close on Oxox, who is back on the tail of the Red Bull. So Dutch, who thought he had P2, safely secured. Now has an Aston Martin to contend with once again, and that Ferrari is only a couple of tenths out of DRS range. Still got this train further back than Scuba, TTG, Tibos and Tam all together. Dylan's got 3.6 seconds to make up. He's trying to bring Tom Duval with him after that nearly moment where he's big save after he clashed with Yarham. I don't know if Yarham thought he was clear. Just moved over, they came together. Put them both onto the grass. Dylan went straight on, Yarm went around. And Corboy, after his pit stop, that early pit stop has worked out very nicely for him. Then he's now in P10, clear of the rest of the soft tyre runners by the tune of about 3.2 seconds over Adam, who was the last one to pit. You've got Dan and Sway. And Yogi's in the mix then, but he'll probably need another pit stop before the end. Those tyres are 18 laps old. We've still got 13 to go. And a change for P2. Further up the grid. There we go. Back into P2 goes Oxox. Him and Dutch have resumed battle. Tico still just tantalisingly close out DRS range, but good run out of turn 3. And Dutch will just slipstream back past into turn 4. That's moved on. They are pulling themselves away from Tico behind us. Joe Corboy sets the fastest lap of the race. Come on, Joey. Side by side up the hill. It's going to be costing each other time there, though. Oxox had a really good run out of 4. Into the outside, but drops back in again. But now they've cost themselves a bit of time there. And Tico is now right on the cusp of that 1 second bracket again. Can he get back into DRS range? That'll pull him back into this battle, you feel. Okay, Stewart still doing a really good job. P5. He's been out of the cockpit for a while. But straight back in. He does love the circuit, going really strongly with minimal practice. And Tico, critically, is back in DRS range then of Ox and Dutch. Here comes Ox to the inside for turn 1. Down the inside he goes. Nice clean move. Reclaims P2. However, Dutch Trucks now will have DRS on the run down to 4. Is he going to come back at the Aston Martin? To the inside. No, Ox holds on to the position for now. About this pack behind. Scuba staying ahead of TTG Tibos. Oh, Joe's got a penalty. Yogi pitting further back. We'll go on to the soft tyre now. Get him to the end. It's good there's not been a safety car, but at the same time it's kind of been disappointing for him, for GMAC. Looks like Shizu Tom has left the session, unfortunately. But despite them driving really well, they've just not been able to get back into contention, unfortunately. Because there's been no safety car. I'm not going to wish for a safety car, because at the end of the day these boys are driving hard and they should race fairly, and we want to see them win it in a clean manner. But I feel sorry for those two boys who had accidents in the first couple of laps, and they've just never had a chance to get back into this one. Here we go again then. Is Dutch going to be close enough? No, he's not. Is TG Tibos going to be close enough? No, he's not. Tam also doing a really good job in P7. It's the second FTRL start. Sitting in P7 at the minute then. Oh, and the curse of the commentator strikes hard. And a VSC. Oh, I thought it might be a full safety car. Oh, sorry, Tam, that's the massive curse of the commentator there. It's into the wall. Hard goes the McLaren man then, losing traction out of turn 2. Spits him off into the wall on the outside. And that was a bad case of the curse of the commentator, wasn't it? Wow, just as I commented on what a really good job he's doing, he literally goes into the wall. So that is a big shame for him. GMAC pits. So GMAC is Tam's friend. I imagine there's going to be some blue air in that party. Yalham already having retired. Oh, and TG Tibos has got a drive-through penalty. The VSC has ended. And a drive-through penalty for the Aston Martin man. Oh, he's going to be absolutely kicking himself for that. Is he going to serve it immediately? He is indeed. Oh, he's going to be absolutely livid with himself for that one. So that leaves Scuba then alone in P5. Dylan and Tom giving chase. Oh, they're getting that gap down. Let's have a look. The gap's down to 2.1, so they are closing. Meanwhile, Oxox to the inside of Dutch Tricks. And retakes P2. These three then back together again. Yellow flag in sector 2. Who is that? Oh, it's GMAC. Oh, GMAC, who's just, yeah, not a, oh no. So now GMAC's got as well. Oh, that's a terrible shame for him. So I'm just pitted for fresh tyres. It looks like he's had a drama somewhere. He possibly had a spin and damaged his wing, and I think he's unfortunately rage quit as well. So shame for those two. Both of them did well in qualifying. Tam was having a really good race, and it's all unravelled in a matter of seconds for the pair of them. Still, however, we've got this great battle for P2 raging on. Dutch looking to the inside. Tico now on the back of Dutch Tricks. This is the one man he doesn't want behind him. He wants to get ahead of the Aston Martin and stay there ideally, and keep the red Ferrari behind. Meanwhile, race leader is quietly going about their business. 3.7 seconds the lead, and barring any major dramas, they are well on their way. A minute driven exquisitely. They've got through that pack after the pit stops. Let's just open that gap up again. Battle raging on. Further back, Scuba now in a bit of no man's land, but Dylan and Tom are closing that gap down. It's now 1.7 seconds, so Scuba might not be lonely for too much longer. Callboy in a really solid P8. Great job from Joey in this one. Still keeping that gap to Adam Acco. It was about 3.2 when they came out the pits. It's about that still, 3.4 at the moment. So Adam pushing on, but not able to close down on Callboy. Dan a little bit further back. He's got Sway right behind him, and then the recovering TTG Tibos. He's been in the top 6 or 7 all race. And then that drive-through penalty, dropping him down to P12. Graham in a somewhat lonely P13. He's 4 seconds behind those three ahead of him battling. And then Yogi, who's just pitted, he's 16 seconds behind, trying to close down. Had the loneliest of lonely drives, unfortunately. And the ghost car of Shizu Tom. Dutch Tricks meanwhile taking P2 into turn 4. Once again, Oxus had a really good run up the hill. Maybe best served to just drop him behind. Down the hill then on lap 28 of 36. Start climbing what the hill. Running order is as follows. Crims is your leader. Comfortably so, 3.2 seconds now, just managing that gap nicely. You've got a great battle raging for P2 still, though. Dutch Tricks at the head of this queue. Oxox a little bit further back, and now Tico looking racing this time around. Is he going to go for a move into one? He's right on the back of the Aston Martin, who goes down the inside of the Red Bull. They're side by side through one, they're side by side through two. Gives him a squeeze, gives him a bit of room on exit. Tico up the inside, they're both got DRS once again. Oxox has got the slipstream though, both burning some ERS, not that they've got much. Oxox back ahead, but Tico's got the inside. Oxox around the outside, gets squeezed onto the curb. Oh, and a penalty as well. That could be removed though. I think he was probably pushed there. Don't lose your head, Ox, if you're listening. That could come off. Oh, he's pushing Tico up the... Oh, Tico's wide. Giving him a push from the hill. Hangs on around the outside. This battle's come alive now. Oxox around the outside, Tico on the inside. Sliding as they get the power down. Oxox on the inside. Tico gives him a squeeze. Oxox back ahead. That'll probably come off, Ox, mate, if you're listening. That'll probably come off. So do not lose your head. Stay in this battle. All is not lost. That has given Dutch Tricks the biggest advantage he's had for a while. He's got substantially more ERS than the two behind him, who are basically on a flat battery. 5 and 11% between them. But despite that gap, so they've sorted themselves out and they start chasing him down once again. Just got a little bit scrappy there. Trying to go side by side. Great side by side action there, just getting a squeeze a little bit wide. Scuba holding that gap now at about 1.7 seconds. Dylan and Tom's charge stalled a little bit. Now in the background is cool, where you're still chipping away at that battle, but you feel his tyres now 8 laps old. Maybe not have their prime anymore. Tom Duval has been staring at the back of that Alfa Romeo for a large portion of this race. So he'll know the intricate details of that Alfa Romeo badge on the back of that car and the diffuser. But again, spanking solid points for P7. In terms of the guys around him in the championship, Dylan's a little bit further back, so they may be losing a point or two to him. Oxox is a couple of places ahead. And very much in this battle for P2 still. He's closed back in on Dutch Tricks now. Dropped Tico a little bit to the inside for turn 1 goes the Aston Martin, and through he goes into P2. It's another change of position between these three. Onto the back straight we go again, covering the inside line, trying to break the slipstream. Now we've still got 5 laps to go. It's a long way to go in this one still, relatively speaking. There's going to be plenty more opportunities, but less than a second covering these three. And there's Corboy in P8, doing a really good job. However, Adamako is now just starting to chip away a little bit of that lead. However, it's still nearly 3 seconds. And he's running out of laps to make any headway. Sway, Dan Morris and TG Tibos all together. TG Tibos a little bit off the back of these two. Tyre life's probably round about, so you might think that the medium tyre will last a little bit longer, so he could come back at those two just yet. Dan right on the back then of Sway. He's a little bit wide there through the long left-hander, but cuts back for a sharper exit. Lowly P13 for Graham. He's now 6.5 seconds off those guys ahead of him. Still 14 seconds ahead of Yogi, who has had the loneliest of lonely races, unfortunately. Oh, Adamako's picked up a penalty. It's not what he wanted. Specialist Callboy's got a penalty as well. And Tom Duval has finally made a move on Dylan into one. Tom Duval's pulled the pin. He thinks he can chase down Scuba in these remaining laps. And he goes through up into P6 though. Dylan's going to come back at him though. With the DRS, but Tom covering the middle of the road. Dylan closing, he decides better of it this time around and just slots in behind. So Tom bored of stowing at the back of the Alfa Romeo, and now we'll let Dylan stare at the back of the Alfa Tauri instead. And Dan still 10th and 11th, circulating together. What about this battle for second? It rages on still. Dutch quite quite close enough into 1. So Ox will retain the second place for now. But he's not had the best of runs through turn 2. I'll give Dutch a bit of a run. He's closing already. Into the DRS, so we come. This should be a fairly easy overtake to the inside. Ox is giving him the squeeze. But Dutch makes the move. And back into P2 he goes. They're on lap 33 now. These two have just pulled away a little bit from Tico. And Dan's made the move on Sway, has he? He has indeed, into 1, down the inside. Yep, move done for the Williams man. Into the top 10 he goes. So that battle's now come alive. Dylan and Tom side by side into 4. Dylan down the inside. Move done. And all this is just letting Scuba just eke a couple more tenths away. So these battles now just coming alive at the very death here. Gonna have 3 laps to go as they cross the line at this time then. Dutch looking racy still. Ox right behind him. Tico's just off the back though, but I think he'll be happy with P4. Well, as happy as you can be with P4. It keeps his championship lead fairly substantial. Hopefully he's just not going to miss the last race. That was his problem, I think. That was his concern. He might miss the last week. To the inside for turn 1 goes Ox down the inside. And once again the Aston Martin takes P2 back. Let's close the gap to Tico as well. I think Ox is hoping that Tico can attack Dutch. But it's not going to happen again to the inside. On the grass nearly down the straight. Dutch to the outside with the DRS. Ox has sent it in hard though. Oh, he runs Dutch out wide. And hangs on to the position for now. Through he goes. Dutch there with a weave of disapproval. And now Tico's all over the back of the Red Bull. Oh, looks down the inside there. Don't think he's going to wrap up the title tonight. Further back, Sway and Dan have changed places again. Sway then using the DRS into 4. Through he goes. Dylan held off Tom that time around, and they've closed back in again on Scuba, but they're running out of laps if they want to do anything about him. This battle though is just electrically charged at the minute. Hopefully they're all set to the finish. I don't want any of them to go out. Ox with no battery. Dutch has got 28%. Tico, look at Tico charging his battery. That's what he's doing behind them. He's just charging his battery up. And now he's got something to attack with in these last 2 laps. So we're on the penultimate lap of the race. Here is your race leader. Out of sight, out of mind, but he's 4.7 seconds to the good and looking very, very comfortable in this one. Down the backstretch we go. Ox has got no battery left. Dutch is charging his. He's kind of giving himself something to attack with on the last lap, saving his energy. Tom Duval, a little bit off the back of Dylan. He's not going to be close enough this time. Sway's held off Dan Morris as well. They've also dropped down TTG Tibos. But can Dan come back at him? Not this time. He'll close in into turn 4, but won't be close enough for a move. Not this time around anyway. Here we go then. Race leader up the hill for the penultimate time. This is the battle though. This is the big battle for P2. Championship at stake here. Dutch Tricks can't afford to retire. He needs to finish this one, and he needs to finish ahead of that man behind him. They are 13 seconds ahead of Scuba now. That battle's really... Here comes Dutch Tricks down into 1. And is Tico going to try and follow him through? Tico down the inside of both of them. They go wheel to wheel. Dutch slots in ahead. Tico drops into 3rd. And Tico's got a lot more battery. Down the backstretch we go. He's going to attack. Dutch covers the inside. Tico to the outside he goes. They go wheel to wheel. He's going to ease him onto the curb. He stays ahead, gets the move done, slots back ahead, then Tico has to go to the outside, then 4, 6 and 7. Trying to go the long way around. Oh, Dutch dives to the inside, Tico hanging on around the outside. He'll get the inside for the next corner though. He's now ahead, they're side by side. Ox is nowhere to go behind, trying to stay in touch, then they come together. Now Dutch is on the inside and gets the move done. Tico trying to switch back to the outside, now he's going to have to run down the hill. But Dutch sweeps across in front of him. Oh, there's nose to tail stuff here. He's a race winner, but he's going to cross the line. We're going to stay with this battle though. Oh, there's nothing happening yet. We'll cross the line with Crims then. Great job from Crims. The win again for P2. Is it going to be Dutch? Here comes Tico. Oh, he's going to get there. Is he to the inside? No, there's Dutch! Oh, wow. They get across the line. Dutch gets 2nd. Tico 3rd. Ox will be 4th. Scuba's going to be a lonely P5, but I think he'll be really happy with his effort on his return. Dylan's going to hold off Tom Duval for P6. Joe Corway, great effort from him. P8, solid drive from him. Adam closing in the left, but didn't quite get there. Sway, oh, and the line. Dan's going to steal P10, but drops back off penalties. TG Tibos, what could have been for him, ends up P12. It's a shame for him. He's having a really good run, but that drive-through penalty absolutely crippled him at the end there. 13th for Graham. And Yogi crossing the line P4 after a very lonely race, unfortunately. That's a great drive, though. Well done for sticking with it, mate. Well done indeed. What a finish. What a battle that was. Dutch then just edges Tico and Oxox in what was a titanic battle for P2. None of them could touch Crims, though. Crims is your winner. And Joe Corber getting driver of the day. Very thoroughly deserved. A great drive from Joe. But it is victory for Crims. Great job. 2 wins in a row for them. Dutch then getting P2 and claws back a couple more points on Tico. But he still has a lot to do in the final week of Bahrain. And Tico there, great, they just sat behind Ox and Dutch, who were swapping places lap after lap. Saved his battery up for an attack on the final lap as it came so close to getting the move done, though. Dutch just had enough ERS left to hold him off at the flat. Look at that, less than nearly a tenth of a second between Dutch and Tico as they touched across the line. Crims is your winner from Dutch and Tico. Ox ending up P4, then great effort from him there to begin that battle. It was a really great scrap for most of the race. They've been absolutely outstanding. What a watch that was. Scuba gets P5 on his one-off outing. Great to see from the former champion. Dylan, P6, great effort from him. Tom Laval not quite able to overhaul him. It's still solid points for P7. Corby gets fastest lap of the race as well. Great job from Corby in P8. Adamako ends up P9. Sway then jumps back ahead of Dan, who had a penalty. So great effort, the great battle between those two. TGT was so unlucky to get that drive-through penalty under the VSC. Drops him to P12 when the top 5 could have been on for him. Graham, a lonely drive for him in P13, and Yogi had the loneliest of drives after an early pit stop for P14. Shizu Tom, unfortunately, had a off, and he didn't finish the session. And there were times with GMAC, who just pitted. We saw it. Didn't see what happened to him. Tamu was having a really strong race as well. He went off and into the wall. Yarham, who span and then got a speeding penalty as well. Wesker retired in the pits after a spin. And Andy, who went off early doors, clipping the grass on the outside of turn 1. And into the wall hard, ending his night rather prematurely, unfortunately. And yeah, that then was the Brazilian Grand Prix. The penultimate round of season 18 is in the books. And we have now just got one race to go for the Div 1 Championship. And it comes down to a head-to-head between Dutch and Tico. The advantage very much lies with the Ferrari man. He's going to have a substantial lead going into that final week. So what can Dutch Tricks do? Can he do anything? He needs something to befall Tico in the race, probably. So tune in next week, 8 o'clock, to see the final round of the Div 1 Championship for season 18 as we crown a champion, a new champion. Of course, the outgoing champion, Link's not with us tonight. Not the end of the F1 action for this week, though. Of course, we are back tomorrow with Div 2, where we get to do it all over again. So please do join me tomorrow at 8 o'clock for that. And then on Thursday and Friday, we are back with the penultimate week of GT Sport. Of course, our final season on the GT Sport game. This week we are at Kyoto, Yamagiwa. GT2 on Thursday. See some of the F1 boys who have made that transition over. And then on Friday, 8 o'clock for GT1. That, though, is the end of the action for this evening. Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. If you can give it a like before you go, that would be very much appreciated. It helps us out immensely, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for some Div 2 action from Interlagos. Hopefully it can match the drama and excitement of tonight's Div 1 race. So thank you very much for joining us in, though. There's a sentence in there somewhere, I swear. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Good night from me.